As we start off with the engagements this morning, the National Commission on Research, Science and Technology, NCRST Namibia, is taking bold steps to support Namibia's next generation of science leaders through the launch of a Mr. and Miss STEM competition. Now, this initiative is a strategic investment in the country's science future, positioning young Namibians as the driving force behind the nation's technological advancement. The competition is targeting STEM students between the ages of 18 to 25, aiming to identify passionate STEM students who will serve as ambassadors to promote STEM activities during their year of reign. And joining us with more insights on the competition, we are joined by Generosa Simon, who is the Manager of Human and Institutional Development, Science and Technology Promotion at the National Commission on Research, Science and Technology, as well as Martha Kautenavali, the champion for Mr. and Miss STEM. Ladies, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Amazing. Well, Martha, you're definitely not new to our screens. We've seen you. You were one of our misses that is, of course, for Miss Namibia. How has it been so far, seeing that you're also a champion for Mr. and Miss STEM?
It's been great.
Okay.
It's been great. It's been a journey. It's been, and I think right now it's just a testimony of really what the pageant world does to you.
Yeah.
It propels you, and it just helps you to really walk on a path that is intentional and that is inspiring. So yeah, I'm happy.
Amazing. I think, Martha, something people don't know about you is that you're an engineer. So seeing that you're also advocating for STEM, can you just talk to us as to how you're aligning engineering, which is basically a blue-collar work sometimes, we basically perceive it as blue-collar work, to something so, glamorous, like a pageant.
Yeah. Sure. Right? To think of it. So I think for me, really, it all started with not having an inspiration and a journey. When I started with engineering, we barely saw women engineers. So growing up in a village, I mean, you're like, I don't see people who are actually doing something that I want or aspire to be. So then I took it upon myself and say, you know what, let's cut this thing and start over, start fresh, to say, I want to be the inspiration that I never had in my life growing up, and just start there to be the inspiration of a younger girl looking at me and be like, I want to be like that. But also to cut the footprint to say, being an engineer doesn't mean you should be a man. You should step back into your femininity and represent a womanhood, You don't have to look like the blue collar, yes, but like really, you can still look glamorous and be an engineer, be technical still, but in a feminine way.
Amazing, so, yeah. Amazing. Now let's get into the entire competition itself. This is actually an annual competition that the NCRST has created, which is also like a platform for young scientists to actually just go out there and contribute to the development of STEM in Namibia. Maybe let's just take a step back and just talk to us as to how the entire competition was birthed.
All right. Thank you for the question. The NCRST being the NCRST, yes, its mandate. NCRST is established by the Research, Science and Technology Act, Act number 23 of 2004, with the mandate to coordinate, to develop and to promote research, science and technology in the country. Given its mandate, we then realized that we have a bigger role to play in the Namibian society, and also that we need to put the right people at the forefront of advocating for research, science and technology in the country. So we then had an initiative that was introduced, of course, by the NCRST of Mr. and Mrs. STEM. Yes, the very first one was hosted in partnership with the EU, the European Commission. And then later on, we were even joined by the Germany embassy. We were joined by the Spain embassy in Namibia. It was hosted and it was successful. And then we had to make it an annual competition. To make sure that we at least have this to foster the dynamic
All right. But how would you say the entire competition aligns with a broader goal for the NRST and also Namibia's vision for 2030?
Yes, we are trying to foster sorry. The mandate of NCRST is to promote research, science and technology in the country, which is one of the pillars in terms of the national developments. So creating this platform that is youth-led will foster the scientific culture that we are seeking for, will also help us to develop human capital. As we are aware that the Vision 2030 calls for Namibia to become a knowledge-based society driven by its own innovations, by its own human capital. So developing an initiative like this will put the right leadership at the forefront of the development of creating of human culture, and also creating the human capital that we are looking for, and also the right people to be able to do the public engagement. For example, we have Miss Earth here who will be championing the competition. So having her at the forefront can also inspire the other kids out there, the other youth out there, so that they would also want to be an inspiration in terms of the creation of STEM culture, in terms of also advocating for STEM careers, in terms of also making sure that public engagement is being done just to the right leaders of the future of this country.
All right. Now, Martha, the competition is targeting strictly STEM students between the ages of 18 to 25. What exactly does the competition entail, and how will the participants be selected?
So it's going to be a regulars, you know, I mean, we always say, okay, yeah, it's going to be a competition, but like we look at how, especially what Ms. G said about the mandate of research within Namibia, and also what we want to establish to say we want public engagement as much as possible, and just an understanding of what STEM is about. So really, for as much as we're saying, yes, it's STEM, but also understanding that STEM is very broad: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So this is one of the future-led industry that we want to as much have an intake. We want a huge intake of this industry so that we have future leaders that are well informed, that are well brought up, that are well groomed. So with this STEM, we are looking at 18 to 25 years, the students within university. All the universities that we have in the country are all welcome. All the higher institutions, rather, are welcome to apply. The students from the ages of 18 to 24 to 25. And then, so they're going to go through stages, series of stages where we say it's going to be from starting with application that is happening now. And then they're going to present personal STEM advocacies where we say, okay, as a science, technology, engineering, we've done so much from high school. We're doing science fair, we're doing all these things. So as a young STEM person needs to have an understanding of what they actually want to resolve within the country or within Africa, within the world, to be specific. And then, so they're going to be taking part in an elimination test as well, where we we'll have judges to look at their science, representation, communication, leadership, and the innovation ability. So we're going to have a panel of judges that is going to assess the participants on this criteria, and then where we have originality, we have clarity, we have impact, as well as public engagement, like what Ms. G has spoken or alluded to. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting journey.
Yeah, looking forward to it. But how do you envision this competition influencing young Namibians' attitude towards, the field of STEM?
Yeah, like I've alluded to, not knowing or not having an inspirational leader in line with what you're doing. So that is really what you're trying to do, to make it known. Not so long ago, we were having a conversation with the CEO of STEM, of NCRST, and she spoke about how, she had a conversation with someone within the influential circles of Namibia, and then she was talking about STEM, and this woman asks, what is STEM? And we want to really cut that out to say, STEM is supposed to be something that is on top of everyone's head. Even if you're not in that industry, at least have an understanding of what STEM is. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, you know. So that is really what we're trying to establish, to have it as much encapsulated as possible, because if we look at the future right now, technology has taken over. And if we're not preparing ourselves, if you're not preparing our young people as a country, then we're going to fail them. So that's what we're trying to establish, to encourage, to reverse that thing that STEM is just for books, it's just for labs. No, we want to make sure that it's understood, it's a lifestyle. It's how you live. You are incorporating STEM in everything that you're doing. Even right now where we are, what we're doing, it's really STEM. So that's what we're going to
Look at you influencing us well, Martha. Okay, we hear you. I think also seeing that, you know, it is part of our lives, I think we can't also shy away from the fact that, you know, with STEM, the aim is to basically also empower the girl child and also the boy child. And I love how inclusive it is, because it's Miss and Mr. STEM. But in this regard, Ms. Generosa, how will this initiative help bridge the gap, the gender gap, pardon me, and also just promote inclusivity when it comes to STEM?
I think you just finished the conversation before I could start it, but yes, we had a deliberate effort as an institution to make sure that, yes, we keep saying the girl child, but we are seeing the boy child also lagging behind. But also the role of promoting STEM in this country does not only lie with one gender. So we made a deliberate effort to make sure that we balance the gender, both male and female young student out there who is bold enough to say, I want to do this for my country. I want to make sure that the STEM culture is right in the country. I want to make sure that I inspire somebody out there, come on board. And so this will help us to make sure that we prepare our leaders. So we have Martha here. She's young. She's very modern. Not to say science is for people that are staying in the lab, the ones with the lab coats on, the ones that have big Googles. So having her championing this will help us also inspire and break that stereotype also. So, yes.
Talk to us about some of the support systems that are put in place, you know, for those who actually want to participate, to take part in the entire competition.
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, we want to make sure that this competition is not just for crowning. It's not just like a normal competition. We want to make sure that these people have an impact in society. So we want to make sure that these people do not just end, these young scientists do not just end the day they are crowned and they get their award, whatever they are going to get, but to further on and also to get the support from the NCRST. So we are going to turn them into ambassadors for the duration of their Miss and Mr. STEM. So they will be involved in a lot of public engagement. They will be involved in a lot of creation of awareness. So we will use them to be an inspiration to the others. For example, we have competitions such as the National Science Fair, the Namibia Mathematical Olympiad, and also the National Science Quiz that are currently running. So we will use these champions, these youth scientists, to be able to also mingle with these upcoming, groom them, and be able to also inspire them, and for them to want to look up and say, I also want to take up this career. I want to be an engineer just like Martha.
Okay.
Yes.
Martha, is this the first time you're championing this competition?
Yes, it is. It's my first time, but I was involved in the first edition that we had.
Okay.
I was a judge. So really, it stemmed from there, you know, the interest of how it changes someone's life. You know, this competition. I've seen our last ambassador, how she transformed, man. The way we saw her first on that stage, right? But seeing her now, it's like, Wow.
We actually want to hear that story. Talk to us about, some of the work she's done and also how it has evolved, seeing that you were a judge in the first edition and this time around you're a champion. Talk to us about, that entire period. What has changed so far? Perhaps some of the new elements you're seeing this time around.
Yeah. So I think to vividly remember.
Yeah.
One of the things is like we alluded to, the student or the participant has to have this niche or love for science, right? Because it's not something that will be enforced onto you. It's something that you want to do.
Yeah.
And what we have seen is how our previous ambassador even got internship, from the organization. These are opportunities that you can get as a young person in your life. And we've seen how unemployment rate is crazy and even just so difficult for a young individual in university to graduate.
Yeah.
But before you graduate, you need internship. It's one of those things that this competition really helps young participants out there. And another thing is just how it improves your representation in public. Being in university is one thing, but in public is another.
Yeah.
Just coming on here and have a conversation with viewers, millions of viewers, is something else. So this is what this competition does to these young people, to be able to even, man.
I'd say you're speaking with passion. But Martha, for those who perhaps feel like, you know what, I think this is my chance, school shouldn't just be about books. We also need that fun element. Now, for those who are doing perhaps STEM and they want to be part of this, how can they apply to be a part of this competition and where can they get more details?
Yeah, so we've seen how young people are very much on social media. So NCRST made sure that all the social media platforms, the link is there, so that they'll reach out to the they should go on the social media platforms and apply, get the link and apply. Applications are very short, quick, and we're ending on the 16th of June, 2025. That's the due date of registration. And then, so like I said, the process is very simple and it's open to all eligible participants. They can do it. And we encourage them these young scientists, man, to take part because it's a life-changing opportunity.
Yeah.
It was one for the books, really.
Amazing. Yeah. So when can we expect the competition?
So we are expecting it in June, the last week of June.
Okay.
We are looking at the 31st of June.
Yeah.
Yes. So we will be having it, I'm sure, in Windhoek. But for us to be inclusive and also for the role of NCRST of coordination, we have an external committee that is also made up of associations of scientific associations in Windhoek, so that we can make sure that together we are a nation that can coordinate and work together for this type of advocacy to come out. And I just wanted to say, like Martha said, what came out in terms of our first crowned Miss STEM. So the other part of it is also as she was wearing that, it was written Miss STEM. And everybody would want to say, what is that? What is that? Yes. So it really brought that. And without knowing it indirectly, it's also working in their mind to know. So science is actually exciting. Yeah. It's actually not just this textbook that my teacher wanted me to keep reading and reading. So because when we do this, we are bridging the gap, not to teach them that what they're supposed to know in the class, but to bridge that gap that is left, that it can be done differently. Just for you to take bicarbonate of soda, for example, you mix it something in your kitchen. It's science. It's not just that you do in the lab and then you don't touch and that. So that's what we are trying to move away. And
Amazing. This has been absolutely amazing. If I was still within the age bracket of 18 to 25, I'll definitely have taken part in the competition.
I want to go back to restart again.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. All the best with the entire competition. And hopefully I get to have an invite, front row seat to that competition.
Period.
Yes. Well, thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, that was Generosa Simon, who's the Manager for Human and Institutional Development at the NCRST. And also Martha Kautenavali, the champion for Miss and Mr. STEM joining us this morning, talking to us. That is, of course, about Mr. and Miss STEM competition. Basically applications are open. They will be ending on the 16th. That is, of course, of June. So head over to the NCRST social media platforms. There is a link there. So if you're in between the ages of 18 to 25 and you're basically attending, you're basically doing higher education, then this is your platform to go out there and be an ambassador. That is, of course, for STEM. That is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Don't go anywhere. Good Morning Namibia continues after this.